the defensive backs coach had some things yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago, and then the running backs coach. Were you at that? You were at that presser, right, Nick?
Yeah.
He got emotional when he started talking about the players he left at UConn.
Yeah. Well,
do you have any of those clips at all?
Yeah, we have some from EJ Barthel. But I think about it, guys, is UConn is this perennial and consistent losing program, right? Like they had the 1 year in 2009 where they made the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. But outside that, I mean, they chose on their own to cancel the football season in 2020. Like they chose not to play. They've chose to cancel their football seasons before, whether it's been impacted by a pandemic or not, just because they don't have guys that want to play or have guys that are ready to play, whether that's both physically, mentally, whatever it may be. They've had to do that at UConn. Well, UConn goes out and hires Jim Mora, who's the former UCLA head coach, and Jim Mora then brings on EJ Barthel. And EJ Barthel was telling us yesterday, like he said, when you're coaching at UConn, and especially he said the running backs, he said they run the ball with so much purpose and with so much it's so much of a mentality, is Barthel said, about what he looks for in a running back and how the UConn guys ran. And then he mentioned, but a lot of times at UConn, guys aren't ready. He said it's basically like I was coaching freshmen. He said I was coaching freshmen in high school who had barely started playing football just a couple years ago, because that's the type of recruits that you are dealt with at UConn. But he said then you're able to come into Nebraska, and Matt Rule and him don't even think twice about going to the transfer portal. They like all their guys in their room. He recruited Ramir Johnson out of high school from where he was at back then. And he has connections to Bergen Catholic. He has connections to Ramir Johnson. And he loves Nebraska's running back room, so much so that they did not think even twice about going to the portal.
Yeah, makes sense. I would love that running back room too.
Yeah.
You think about – go ahead, Raph.
I was just going to say on offense, I mean, that's got to be the number one room on offense for sure. Just what they 100%. Have coming back.
100%.
You know, the way that he spoke and the running backs coach, I was looking at his bio, and I'm going to have to obviously work on the names, etc. But he played fullback himself, he said.
Yep.
And I thought that was interesting to where he.
That was quick.
AD's gone. But either way, yes, he did play fullback. I'm working to pull up some of the on the blog or the press conference audio here just in a moment.
I was
AD just dipped.
I was going to say too, I wanted to ask AD is there really hasn't been much talk of, who might play fullback next year. I was just kind of combing the roster and stuff like that. And I was going to ask AD, I know he's familiar with the Goodwin family, but John Goodwin Jr.
from Lincoln High.
He's I think 6'2", 235, good hands. I think he's pretty fast and, he's aggressive. So I wouldn't be surprised next year to maybe see him, take some snaps at fullback.
Well, and think about this, guys, when we're talking about the fullback, because we have AD back here in a second. When we're talking about the fullback, like we said this after Marcus Satterfield talked last week last week about how Nebraska is going to be a fullback and use tight ends and all that. High schools don't use a fullback. More often than not, high schools are not using a fullback, and they're running more of an offense that we saw Nebraska run last year. I mean, you're starting to see high school quarterbacks with RPO action and things like that, having to make decisions on the fly and signals from the sideline where it's a silent count and silent huddle, like everything like that. You're starting to see that. So if Nebraska wants to transition to that, they're going to have to do what other programs are doing. Convert a tight end, convert a bigger body wide receiver, convert maybe a running back, go out and recruit. Like, I don't want to say Jock Hezient, but a Jock Hezient type of body, maybe a little bit bigger, and use him as a fullback. There's not going to be a prototypical fullback out there. Unless you're a triple option type of team, but a lot of also high school triple option teams, like North Platte runs a triple option, guys. And they have a guy that he's their fullback at the high school level, but he doesn't project to the Big Ten level as a fullback. And so you're gonna have to unfortunately shape and mold and develop a guy and use that transition from tight end to fullback or bigger body running back to fullback as well.
Another position too that you can also look at is like an undersized middle linebacker.
Oh yeah.
That's also where you can, like, I was going to ask you, AD, before you kind of dipped out there for a second. What would you think about John Goodwin playing fullback?
I heard you say that. Can you both hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would. And Raph, it's cool that you brought that up because that's exactly what I was thinking, because he played fullback in high school as well. So he's very familiar. In fact, grew up playing fullback and defensive end. He didn't really start playing tight end for a lot of snaps until he got to Nebraska. And he is a big kid. He's 6'3.5", give or take, probably anywhere from 230 to 240, and loves to put his nose in the ball in the dirt. So they've got some options there. Yeah. And I would, so the thing that I would say too, even, the big thing people talk about the 3-3-5. Me and Raph, we talked about this. Nebraska was playing basically a 3-3-5 half the dang season anyway last year. And they just made modifications. They jump into a 3-3-5. Because basically when you think about your nickel, that's what it is. So it's just dropping guys. Now, do you have to have an interior lineman to do that? Yes. But I think the thing that I would say to folks is pump the – we haven't seen anything yet. So to me is wait to see what's going to happen on the field, then pass a judgment then. People heard 3-3-5. Oh, what are we going to do? We don't know yet. We don't know yet, So my thing is to pump the brakes and have some patience. As far as when it comes to scheme and schematics. Now, I understand the frustration, too. We've been saying that for freaking 15 years, if not longer. I get that, too. But I'm just holding off everything until I see what happens. I do like the talk of a huddle. I do like the talk of a fullback, which means you're going to try to play a more physical style type of football, which I like that. So there's options that we have as far as converting someone to a fullback. So that I've got a lot of confidence in that. Do we have any of those clips? Go ahead, brother.
I'll give you another name before we get to break, and then we can play some more clips on the other side. Another name to watch for that tight end converting to fullback, Luke Lindenmeyer is the name. He played at Papillion La Vista, and his measurables, he's listed as a tight end on the roster. His measurables, if I remember correctly, 6'4", 250 pounds. We lost AD. 250 pounds. And Lindenmeyer's a guy that he played a little bit of fullback in high school for the Monarchs as well. And he was a guy that out of high school, Iowa had offered, and Iowa, Nebraska, those traditional Big Ten. Now Nebraska's not a traditional Big Ten offense in years past when they were recruiting him, but the traditional power type of running teams were offering Luke Lindenmeyer, not necessarily as a tight end, if I remember correctly, but as a potential fullback or more of a blocking tight end. So that's a guy that honestly, if I had to put a favorite, I would honestly say Luke Lindenmeyer would probably be my favorite and my better choice for to move into that fullback position.
And I could also see too, looking back at the past, I know talk about that a lot, but it always seemed like there was always somebody from Nebraska that was playing fullback, and always from some small town in Nebraska. So it would not surprise me one bit to see like a preferred walk-on that eventually one day, might take the reins at that fullback position too.
Yeah, exactly. So, Raph, I think what we should do is we should send it to break. AD looks to be back into the fold, so we'll try it one more time here.
All right, we'll throw it a break. This is The Drive on 93.7 The Ticket.